M&Ms, we got a little dime on the floor. Y'all got to see the floor. You see what I'm talking about. There's a dime, there's a nut, there's a bolt, there's even paper clips. And I'm like, and you know what, I can tell I'm getting older too. It's like, God, I hate getting down to reach stuff. I really do. It's embarrassing. My knee's all screwed up. I'll admit it. But man, imagine having to reach down and pick all this stuff up by hand or reach way up high. We've solved the problem. I think this is going to sell out in this hour. Free shipping, 5 flex. It's called our StrongArm. It's an ergonomic reacher grabber with a hook and magnet, and it is our spotlight item. We do have free shipping. It's just back in stock, and it's a great customer pick. If you missed earlier, almost 10,000 have now been ordered. I have less than 2,000. That's why I'm predicting this is going to be a sellout. Laura Baker's joining me. Laura brings us a lot of great items that just make us feel better, make life easier, and feel healthier. Yes. She's been a news reporter for a long time, sports reporter as well, featuring fitness products and actually covering fitness and health.
Yeah,
and this thing
covering
is
some major football teams. Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah, this thing is amazing, right? And so what happens to us a lot of times is we drop something on the ground, or we have to pick up the dog toys from the floor, and those things, just the slightest little move can tweak your back, and all of a sudden you're out, right? Yeah. Well, now we have the StrongArm Reacher. It gives you 32 extra inches right here to pick up everything you want. It even has a hook on one side, it has magnets on another side, it has the reacher here, and that reacher is both horizontal, and it also turns and becomes vertical if you want it to be vertical as well. So maybe, like me, the clothing ends up between the washer and dryer, yes, or something falls in between the refrigerator and the wall, then you can turn it and actually get it and pull it out that way as well. What's really amazing about this reacher as compared to other reachers though, is this actually supports your arm and your body, right? So it's ergonomic with the grip, but it's also keeping all of the weight off of your wrist. So notice when I grab something here, pay attention to my wrist, notice how my wrist stays straight. It's not moving at all, right? In order to grab anything, even let me grab the purse because it's a little bit heavier. I want you to see. Notice what happens here nice and close. My wrist is staying straight, but I'm going to take this one from you. So same wrist, okay? But this is a different type of reacher, another company that's out there. And watch what happens when immediately it's lightweight even here, but look what's happening. Yeah. I'm breaking my wrist, right? So this is putting all that weight on my wrist. Now let me try to grab the purse, which is hard to grab anyway with this. Let me see if I can do it better with the strap with theirs. Now see what's happening here? Yeah. Look at the amount of pressure I'm putting on my wrist right here. I'm breaking this wrist. All that weight is transferring here. Now when I go to do it with ours instead, I'm going to go back because I want to show you the difference. Do it with ours instead. Look at what happens. Notice how before earlier my wrist was really broken. There was lots of little wrinkles inside this area because I was bending it really hard to hold up the purse because of the weight of it. Oh. Now the difference is all that weight has shifted to my forearm.
That makes such a big difference.
Right?
I literally have never used this, guys, until right now. You're seeing me do it live. And I looked at this and so I said, all right, it's really easy. You just grab it, right? You don't have to do anything fancy. And I grabbed the water bottle. And I think that's really relatable because water bottles are really, really heavy. Again, there's literally, I'm going to put my wrist in here so you guys can see it. There's no pressure here. It's actually sending it back here. See how straight it is? And you know how water bottles, when they're full, they're really, really heavy. You can tell that's weighty, but there's literally all of that's been dispersed evenly towards the back of my arm, and none of it is being kind of jerked around on my wrist. That's brilliant.
It makes a big difference too. Plus, so it's saving your wrist from the other reachers, and it's saving your back if you're not using a reacher at all. Even something as little as these little chocolate candies. By the way, these are my mom's favorite, so I recognize them on the floor very well, because if you step on them, they leave a little mess. Look at how tiny this is right here and how easily it grabs on. But even smaller than everybody's favorite chocolate candy, look at the dime. We all know how thin a dime is, right? I picked up that dime with no trouble at all. And then I'm going to show you the magnet, because this magnet here is on this side. Look at how strong it is. It's picking up that bolt right there with the magnet. Let me actually have to pull it off. The magnet continues to work on the paper clips, those things that you end up dropping in your house. Oh, the dog, we love our pets, right? But they love fresh water every day, bending over to get the bowl. Now you can pick up the bowl, bring it into your hand, empty it out and clean it, and then I wouldn't set it down with this, with the water in it. You could, if you're not sloppy like me.
You're very
but I
neat.
might not be that talented. But the leash on the ground, the dog toys, this is something that I'm constantly picking up the floor right here. My readers, all the time. I drop them constantly.
Okay, now here's the other thing that I love is going up. Okay, so maybe you can bend over. Maybe you're great at that. It doesn't matter, but can you really reach the top of the shelves in your kitchen?
Let's
cannot.
do it.
And I literally, this is so funny, Laura, because you're tall, I am not.
Yes.
It's funny, so I had to put something away on this always gets me, the cabinet above my fridge. I always have to get a step stool out to reach above it. With this, now I can just do it from the ground.
That's
so
exactly
easy.
right.
Look
and
at this.
Look, I mean, this is a full bottle of cinnamon. It actually is pretty heavy. You can see how different that is.
Yeah.
That's a pretty wide box that you're picking up right there. So it makes life very simple. If I want to get the coffee out from the top shelf, or it's a spare coffee, it's the backup coffee in the house that you never want to run out of.
Right.
But I have something else over here
You have
too.
something
I'm going
better?
to open these
All right, get out of the
cabinets.
way.
Ready?
Yeah.
So think about the vitamins, right? Your extra vitamins.
Oh, yeah.
You can actually, I mean, you can hear this. It's full and it's heavy. Here, hold it.
Oh, that's really heavy.
It is heavy, isn't it?
Let's put them back.
Let's put them back.
You know what? It's funny, and again, because it's so brilliantly distributing the weight towards the back of your arm, you don't have all that torquing to your wrist.
That's exactly right.
But
So
this
it
is
takes
me.
the
This is my
pressure
cabinet.
off.
We don't have anything in there, but this is my boogly boo cabinet. I cannot reach to the back of the cabinet
I think it's a fake
above
cabinet.
my.
It doesn't
is.
open.
Isn't this the one where you want to get something out of it and you're like, oh man, I got to go get a step stool to do it. I just like the. Oh, that's great.
Or maybe the glasses that you don't use very often. They're, you know, they're the ones that you save for special occasions and special guests. If it's a little harder to get into them, happy Valentine's Day, by the way.
Oh, and to you.
Would you like an empty glass of champagne?
Please fill it with
There
something.
you go.
Help a girl out
It's
here.
time to fill it with something, right? Or the kids. We love our kids, my nieces and nephews, the grandkids, right? But what do they do with the toys? They go everywhere. Sometimes they go too high and you can't reach them. So check this out. We have our favorite monkey. Whoop, there he goes. And then we just grab him and pull him right down. And now he can go back in the toy bin where he belongs.
Well, you know what would be kind of cool too is how often do you ever want to put, let's say you've got a wireless light for the holidays and you want to put it in a window you can't reach. Now you could grab it and stick it up there when the remote control.
You know what I was thinking about is, you know, in the kitchens and a lot of cabinets, we have the baskets with the flowers on the top of the kitchen cabinets, and they get a little dusty. And sometimes we don't ignore them because they're too hard to reach. Now you can actually get those faux flowers out, pull them out, clean them off, and then put them back with the grabber.
Oh, that's
so
a great
easy,
idea,
right?
Or I'll tell you what else too, if you actually do think about cleaning, even if you decided you want to take a cloth and put it on the end of this and go, think about it right along the top edge of something as you're trying to clean it.
Where the spider webs go.
Yeah, or down low.
Down low.
Like if you've just got a cloth, a rag, whatever, you can go down low and you can be able to clean with it. Like anything that we'd normally bend down to do with your hands or get on your hands and knees, well, might as well just have it do the job for you. I think this is brilliant.
It is so brilliant. By the way, it folds in half. So for storage, all you do is you press the button here in the middle, stores right in half just like that, so it's easy to store when you're not in use. You can easily put it inside of a cabinet that you have in your kitchen or in your laundry room, the storage room, a closet, it doesn't matter. This is the gripper right here, so it's an ergonomic handle. It's comfortable on the hand, and then as you can see, you just put your wrist and your forearm right across the top of the handle here. So this is what takes the pressure and redistributes the weight in your body. Instead of having the breaking of the wrist right there like you have traditionally with a reacher or a grabber, this takes it off of the wrist and puts it into the forearm, which is stronger, and then makes it easier for you to be able to pick up things off the ground. So not only is it easier on your back and saves that little tweaking from happening, or maybe your back is fine and you just drop the remote all the time off the sofa like I do, and you just have it handy because you don't feel like getting up off the sofa, your favorite TV show is going on, and you can pick it up off the floor. Even this toothpaste here, notice how thin it is there on the bottom. I mean, this is something we do every day in our lives. Sometimes things just fall out. The pill bottles that fall out here as well. And I'm going to go back to the dime because I want you to see, notice how I'm not right on top of it. I'm just moving right along. Even the dime, it's so thin and so skinny, but because it has these amazing rubber grips on the bottom of it, they really are able to be able to pick up something with a lot of ease.
And you know what, it doesn't take a lot of finger power to be able to use the trigger. Like if you have anybody who's got some issues with their hands or their wrist, and you're like, oh, are they going to be able to trigger it? It's extremely easy. It takes and it's funny because it really mimics your own fingers. Like when you know what, does that make sense?
Yes.
Like if I were going like this trying to pick something up, it kind of mimics it so easily that it almost feels normal to use it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, right? I love that too. How many of you drop your keys and you're like, oh man, I do not want to get down there to pick it up? How many of us drop something and don't bother picking it up? Because you're just like, Oh, geez, I cannot bend down to
get
get
that
it.
later.
Yeah.
Or my son's on his way over. I'll let him pick it up when he gets here.
But I loved your thing about between the washer and dryer. I actually dropped something behind a row of benches I have. And you have to pull all the benches out. I had to get under. I would have been so much easier just gone behind him and grab it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. So this is a traditional reacher, and I want you to see what's happening. I'm going to show it to you again on my wrist. So notice how when I use it, in order to pick, let's just pick up a sock. It's super light, right? But even just to pick up the sock, look at the wrinkles in my wrist. Look at how much work my wrist is doing here in order to pick up something as simple and as light as a sock. I'm going to drop the sock. I'm going to switch over to the StrongArm reacher, and now I'm going to pick up that sock again, and notice what happens. Absolutely nothing. There is no difference in my wrist. It stays even, it stays straight, it stays aligned, and of course all of that weight is distributed into the forearm, which is stronger and taking the pressure off of here. That's the biggest difference between them. And also, you know, the durability of ours. It's made from aluminum. It has amazing rubber grips. They're nice and large. You saw the big box you picked up earlier. Yeah. The heavy. I mean, this was heavy
really nice and wide
in order to get these vitamins out of the cabinet. So even now you can actually have more storage room in your house because you're able to reach things too, which helps.
Right. How often do you never use the stuff in the top cabinets simply because you can't get to it?
Exactly.
Now you can finally get to it. I think for in the kitchen, it's awesome. Maybe if somebody who's maybe in a wheelchair spends a lot of time sitting, and seriously, if someone's in a wheelchair and they drop something, that's even more difficult for them to have to reach down and get it. Now, because it's so collapsible, they can literally open it up, extend it, boom, and they can now be more independent. And I think, especially for my friends who have parents who are getting older, they want to be as independent as they can be for as long as they can be. And this is a really easy, inexpensive way to keep them independent. I think they feel more confident because of it. You know, they just feel like they can do more than they could. They don't have to wait for you to come over and, hey, could you grab that off the floor? I couldn't reach it. I couldn't get to it. Now they can get to those kind of things. And you're right, man. How often do you just drop your readers? Like, I do that constantly. And now instead of having to wait or you're squinting, like, oh, I can easily get this. So think about somebody in your life maybe who say, if I got that, boy, grandma would feel so much better. Mom would feel so much better. Having a product like this, just quite frankly, to make life easier and seriously be more productive because you have it. For those of us who say, well, I can kind of bend down, but man, it's reaching up to that top cabinet. Do you have someone shorter in your life? Laura is 5'11"?
Yes.
She's 5'11". I'm 5'5.5". You can see we're dramatically different in height, okay? She could probably reach up there. I can't. So really, it's not for, oh, everybody who's got to be older and not mobile. Even if you got somebody short in your life, even the kids. How often do you say, hey, go grab that for me, and the kids can't even reach something?
And you know, I mean, there have been times where I admit I have had to climb onto a chair in order to reach something. And I'm pretty tall. I can reach the top shelf, but I can't reach the back of it, okay? And so I have to pull the chair over, and then I'm alone in the house, and I'm like, this is not the smartest thing in the planet. If I fall and lose my balance right now, who's going to find out for the next 24 or 48 hours? I think my mom will be the first to be like, she's not answering the phone, she's not answering the phone, she's not answering the phone. But that might even take a couple days, you know? So for this to be able to reach something, even the taller cabinets, in the back of the cabinets, for you to avoid having to stand on something, whether it's a chair or a ladder, or the kids who constantly, kids will think this is fun actually, but they love to climb on the cabinets, right, to reach things. Now they will do this instead because this is more fun. Notice what I just grabbed here. It's the tiniest little screw. And so even the smallest little things, and of course you never want to step on this in the house, right? So if it falls out of, maybe even your eyeglasses screw, something like that, falls out, that magnet right there, nice and strong on the side, will pick up a couple things too. So it's nice to have the magnet, the hook, the grabber, and of course the grabber goes both horizontally and vertically. So if you want to be able to do something like you were talking about earlier, something in between the refrigerator and the wall got stuck back in there, you can pull it out. If you lost socks in between the washer and the dryer or behind the washing machine and the dryer, just reach around and grab out, and it makes it so much easier, and that sock isn't lost forever. I just got a new washer, and I'm getting a new washer and dryer, and my old ones were removed yesterday, and I was like, ooh, look at all the things that are back here I forgot
pairs
about.
Of socks back there.
It was quite a bit.
One more quick note too, if you've got some of your, let's say you're cleaning up your front of your backyard and you've got a bunch of trash, because maybe you live in an area that just unfortunately has trash on the ground. It really would be a great way to walk around and pick up trash. Yeah. Like in your backyard,
so
if you're just picking up trash or back in the alley.
Yeah, if you're a volunteer beach cleanup person, that would be so good for that. Just give me a new idea.
If I'm at the beach trying to clean up all the garbage, I have to bend over, but how awesome would this be too? Just pick it up and you get the job done very quickly. All right, Laura's